Hello and welcome to the Secretariat. You're watching the Capsule with Sushma, Ramachandra and me, Mahua, Venkatesh. The three topics that we are going to decode for you in this episode are PM Modi's visit to South Africa to be part of the G20 Summit, Bangladesh National Security Advisor Khalilur Rahman's visit to India, External Affairs Minister Jaishankar's visit to Moscow. Sushma, PM Modi's visit to South Africa to be part of the G20 Summit. G20 is a big one. One of the things that India did was to really become the voice of Global South. For the first time, the focus was really on issues that really touched the Global South, which had never happened earlier. How do you see this particular G20 Summit coming along? What do you think is going to be Modi's focus?
I think it's very significant that at a time of, great activity and turmoil within the country, various things are happening. The Bihar elections are just over, and the Prime Minister is making time out to fly down to South Africa just for this summit. And I think they want to give significance and importance to the fact that South Africa is holding the presidency this time. Now, we must remember that the last time, which was just 2 years ago, that India had the presidency, that was when the African Union was brought in as a full member of G20. Prime Minister Modi is obviously trying to ensure that South Africa recognizes the support given by India to it in its presidency of G20. Now, after all, it was during the time that India was in charge of the presidency 2 years ago that the African Union was brought in as a full member.
Which was a big thing, big development.
And like you pointed out, it was at that time that it was felt that that particular year was the time in which India was able to enunciate the voice of the Global South. I mean, there was so much talk about that at the time. So South Africa, of course, not just is the president of the G20 right now, but is also a member of BRICS. And there are very deep ties between South Africa and India.
In fact, next year, India will be the chair for BRICS.
Yes.
So that's also another eventful year, I'm hoping, because, what sources tell us is that even for BRICS, India is trying to make a mark that the way it did when it had...
In the case of G20.
Absolutely.
Where they did a whole year-long series of events.
Absolutely.
Similarly, in the case of BRICS. But coming back to the Johannesburg meeting, I think, I believe the Prime Minister is going to be speaking probably at 3 sessions. He's going to be talking about development, sustainability, climate action. So there's a lot of things that he's going to be involved with. And of course, the summit is also noteworthy for the fact that President Donald Trump will not be attending it. So he is annoyed with South Africa.
And amid this trade uncertainty, tariff uncertainty,
yes,
it's going to be interesting to see how India and other countries take forward the G20 issues.
Yes, exactly. And I think the G20 is increasingly becoming the voice of the Global South, and they're going to discuss a lot of issues. Of course, right now we have the climate conference going on in Brazil also. So all these issues are going to resonate at the summit, and I think it speaks volumes for the kind of importance that India gives to the G20, that Prime Minister Modi is taking time out to attend it.
Going to our next topic, Sushma, this is again a very important one. Bangladesh NSA visiting India at a time when Sheikh Hasina has been handed over a death sentence, which is quite a huge thing. Bangladesh has demanded that Sheikh Hasina be
extradited back, or handed back rather, not extradited.
Yeah, handed back to,
yes.
Yeah. And amid this, tension that the two countries have suddenly got into, the visit of NSA, the Bangladesh NSA, his meeting with Ajit Doval, and also his invitation, he extended an invitation to Doval to visit Bangladesh. Now, given this situation, how do you think India should react? What should be India's roadmap when it comes to Bangladesh? Because Bangladesh is our immediate neighbor.
Yes.
We have many we have many projects going on there.
Yes.
It's important to have a very peaceful, very stable Bangladesh. It's important for India's own growth trajectory. Now, how do you see this?
I think it's a positive development, certainly, first of all, that the Bangladesh NSA has come here and that they have invited our NSA. But the fact is that despite all the things that you talked about, there's a lot of Indian investment in Bangladesh. I mean, in the garment sector, all the factories that have been set up over there. We have agreement as far as power supply is concerned. We have done a great deal as far as infrastructure is concerned. So we have a lot. We have invested a lot. India has invested a lot in Bangladesh, and there have been for many years very close and friendly ties. I mean, of course, we go back to the time that Bangladesh itself was created, but this issue of Sheikh Hasina is certainly going to be a difficult one to overcome, because there is no way that the Indian government is going to simply hand over Sheikh Hasina to the present government. And we must remember that the present government, with the chief advisor, Muhammad Yunus,
is not an elected one.
Is not an elected government.
It's an interim government.
Yes.
And no elections have happened.
Exactly. And so therefore, what is the legitimacy of this court that has passed down this verdict? And apparently they have also, arrested the former election commissioner. And so a lot of things are happening there. It's a very fast-changing situation. But I think that is the bottom line. It is not an elected government. And I think India can legitimately say that certainly we will, we would like to retain friendly ties with you in all areas. But we simply cannot do this till you have proper democratic functioning in the country. So it's going to be a very difficult situation.
And in the last 1 year, even Bangladesh economy has gone through a lot of turbulence. I mean, the way we have seen Bangladesh economy progressing under Sheikh
Hasina, yes, certainly it did. I mean, there were a lot of parameters in which, in fact, it was even doing better than India. I mean, at one point, per capita income of Bangladesh was even higher than India. So, there has been
they've been clocking a very high growth rate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And once it was called a basket case.
Yes.
And from there to the kind of progress, the kind of economic development, women's participation in the workforce was amazing.
Yes.
So
this is something that happened during the time of Sheikh Hasina, and with a lot of Indian assistance. So of course, there were probably reasons for the unrest in Bangladesh. I mean, there was student unrest. There's a job problem of unemployment, which is there, I think, throughout South Asia right now. But certainly, India will have to maintain its stance on this issue, and I think that's what they're going to do.
Coming to the third topic, Jaishankar's visit to Moscow. He's met Putin. Putin is expected to visit India early next month. There is this pressure from the US. Trump has been constantly putting pressure on countries that have continued their economic engagements with Russia. Now, India has made it extremely clear that India will continue to have economic relations, or, will continue to maintain its ties with Moscow. Your thoughts on this?
Yeah, this is, of course, I think this is probably the most pleasant of these subjects. Of course, G20 was pleasant, but and the fact is, with Russia, we have a very strong and deep and very long positive relationship. Now, recently, of course, as we have discussed on this program, we've had the problem of Russian oil. The United States has been saying that, we have to cut back on Russian oil. Now there have been sanctions. So we have willy-nilly had to cut back to some extent. But the fact is that our ties with Russia have actually deepened over this period, because after seeing the kind of acrimony between India and the United States, we have to say that whatever differences India and Russia have had, or India and the Soviet Union have had in the past, there has never been this kind of acrimony. and there's always been some kind of understanding of each other's problems. So this visit, of course, of the External Affairs Minister is in preparation for the summit meeting of Vladimir Putin to come here, and they are going to discuss a wide range of issues. One is, of course, in the strategic area, and there have been reports that there's going to be, some kind of offer from Russia to develop a stealth fighter and also to provide the technology for it. There is also, again, the issue of buying Russian crude, the money that we are trying to buy it in rupees, but then the Russians have to buy things from us. So now they seem to have, brought about a list of things of items that they want to buy, and areas that they want to invest in, to use this money to invest in India, to set up machinery, projects or heavy machinery. Railways is one area where they've already invested, and also in the consumer goods sector. So this probably is a kind of deepening of the ties, I would say, and a preparation, of course, for the Putin summit, was probably going to announce a number of agreements, I think.
And of course, parallelly, India and US have been talking about the bilateral trade agreement, and sources tell us that it's almost a done deal. The two countries are very soon going to sign the deal. So considering that the India-US trade talks have been on track, and parallelly India's engagements with Russia is a clear message also to probably Trump that, India's affairs are India's affairs, and it will be guided by its own interests.
Absolutely. Now, even if the India-US trade deal goes through, I mean, this is the the information that you have, which is probably very reliable, that everything is sorted out. But the fact is that it has come about through a period of great uncertainty and a barrage of criticism from President Trump's aides about the fact that India is funding Russia's war, and a lot of criticism of India's policy. And I think the very fact that India is going ahead with a summit, and they're absolutely, not directly but indirectly telling the world that our relationship with Russia will continue, even if when it's our sovereign decision, and even if any other country tries to put pressure on us, we will not succumb. So it's, of course, a very positive development that the India-US trade deal will go through. But I think it looks as if economic and strategic ties with Russia are going to be deepening in the near future.
That's all we have for you today. See you next week. Thank you for watching.